Thanks in large part to the real estate crisis, more than 1 million new renter households. Many new first-time renters were created last year alone. If you or someone you know is thinking about renting, here with everything you need to know is Fox 29's common sense lawyer, Shari Olefson. Thanks for being here. Someone at home might say, well, what do I need to know if I'm going to rent? But we were just talking a couple minutes ago about just a couple of years ago, oh, move in now, get 3 months free rent. Now it seems like it's a much different environment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, here's the problem if you're a renter, Roxanne, is the number of renter households has gone up from 22% to about 35%, which is a huge increase. I mean, tremendous. The rental incomes have gone up for 26 months in a row now, and we've got about 3 months worth of rental apartments. 6 months is normal, so there's half as many apartments as we need. So you better be ready if you're looking to rent. You got to prepare.
So what do you do to prepare?
Well, first, number one is your credit report. More important now than ever before. We always talk about credit and how important it is, but a couple years ago, the big credit bureaus began providing information specifically about your rental history and payment history, and specifically for landlords. If you've got blemishes, you got to clear them up, or you're going to pay more for your apartment, you may not get your apartment, or you may need a cosigner. The second is budget, because the rents have gone up so much. It's really important. You shouldn't be paying more than about 30%. Once you reach 35%, you're what we call rental burdened, and about 45% of people in this country are actually paying too much rent. The problem with that is if you ever hope to own, it's going to be really hard to save a down payment. And in some of the harder areas like Florida and California, folks are paying almost 60% of their income for rent. The third area is your rental insurance, which is something important for former homeowners to remember, because a lot of folks were used to paying their insurance with their escrow. Now that's not the case. You need to line up your rental insurance and take your photos, especially if you're moving in and buying things. It's a good time to save receipts.
So once you've prepared, you found a place to rent, so you've got 2 things done. Now what's next? What do you do?
Well, in terms of the big buckets, when you rent, there are 2 things you're getting. You're getting the physical property itself. So inspecting the physical property and making sure that you're getting what you think is super important. You want to document everything because you're going to be responsible for the condition when you move out. But I also advise folks, look at that property when it's hot, when it's cold, when it's rainy, when it's sunny, at daytime, at nighttime, and think through what it's going to be like to live there. I've gotten calls from folks who rent a place and then find out there's no parking. So really think it through. The second element that you're getting are legal rights. And of course, that's what's in your lease. And you'd be surprised, Roxanne, how many people are still calling and surprised to hear that something's in their lease. So make sure you read it, understand it, get your questions answered. And last, everything that anyone tells you that's important to you, get it in writing.
So now, I mean, with all the investor and foreclosure properties that have been around, investment owned, and then properties have been foreclosed upon, do renters need to know anything specific now? And are there things landlords can't do?
Well, of course, and that's governed by statute, and the statutes vary by state. The main phenomenon we're still having, and this is primarily if you're renting a single-family home, is some of these homes are still in foreclosure. And so you want to investigate your landlord in that case as much as they're investigating you, and you can easily do that online. Check the public records for lawsuits, maybe talk to former tenants or other current tenants, check to make sure that the taxes are paid on the property, see if there are any mortgages and liens, that kind of thing. You also want to be aware there's a Protecting Tenants in Foreclosure Act, which was started a couple years ago to make sure that if your landlord is foreclosed, you don't get kicked out. And last but not least is your security deposit. Make sure that that's held in an escrow account, and make sure that you protect that as well.
Lots of homework to do to be prepared and to make sure it's a smooth
different
transition.
world out there for tenants.
Sure is. Thanks, Shari. Let's go over to Kate with the weather. Kate.